Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to the first ever English spoken video of Ultimate Fishing on the freshly rebranded Ultimate Fishing International YouTube channel. My name is Sietze. I'm the sales representative for the Netherlands, for Flemish Belgium, Germany and the United Kingdom. And as I just briefly touched upon, we have changed our formerly known as Benelux YouTube channel and also the socials to the Ultimate Fishing International one. Everything will be spoken in English from now on. By doing English, we can also do some projects that we usually probably wouldn't do if we market just to the Netherlands, because the Netherlands, as the name suggests, the land is quite nether. We don't really have trout rivers. And as you can see behind me, today we are on an absolutely beautiful river. Just across the border, it's one of my favorite rivers. I've been coming here for over 22 years, and today we're going to take you along on a day of lure fishing for trout, and in particular we're going to focus on the duo range, the Riyuki, the famous trout lures, show you how to use them, the differences between the types, the models, and just enjoy the lovely scenery and the beautiful fish. Come along with us, with me. Hopefully I'll see you soon with a very big trout in the net. Big one, big follow, rainbow. So we just started fishing. It's started quite promising, had 3 followers, 1 bite. We started fishing a little bit of prospecting, fishing quite fast with the duo Riyuki spinner. You can fish fairly fast, makes a lot of noise, so it attracts usually quite a bit of fish. I had a nice follower over here, it didn't take, so I switched to the smallest duo Riyuki, the spearhead, the 38S, to see if a slower, more twitchy, jerky approach would result in a bite. Quite often they don't follow twice the same lure, so it's always worth to switch quite a bit, especially on the same fish. Fish. A brown trout. Is it? Right. Beautiful little rainbow. All right, fish. So first fish of the day. It's one of the lovely rainbow trout that they stock in this river to protect the brown trout. The brown trout are catch and release only. Luckily, compared to most stocked rainbows worldwide, these are real nice fish. And on a day like this in a beautiful scenery, it's always nice to get some action. That's gone. So we just had the first fish of the day, a lovely rainbow trout on the Riyuki 45S, one of the Ultimate Fishing colors. Nice little bite, nice little fight. Unfortunately, it was quite a feisty fellow and it did not want to show itself in front of the camera. It managed to wiggle away, but I think we'll get another one. Let's go. Fish. Unfortunately, it came off a small little brown trout by the looks of it. At least we're getting some followers, we're getting some bites. Right, we have been fishing for a little bit, the better part of an hour on the hard bait and on the spinner. Had some fish, had a fish and some followers and some lookers, but not much takers. So we're gonna, well, it's not really cheating. It's something that most trout fishers might not be familiar with yet, trout fishermen. It's the very famous dark sleeper, doesn't need much of an introduction, but it's a little bit of a secret that especially the 2.4 inch is a really effective trout lure. I do know this pool holds some bigger barbels that are known to take a lure every now and then. And I actually would not complain if one of them decided to eat the little goby. So we're gonna fish it the same as you always fish a sleeper. Let it drift and let it crawl and hop over the bottom as slow as possible. and see if we can get any looks. Fish. On the dark sleeper. Yes. All right, there we are again. As I told you in the introduction of this video, we were supposed to do a video about this duo Riyukis. As you all know, it's fishing, and in fishing you can never really make a plan in advance. We passed over a spot where I caught the first rainbow on the proper lure, the lure we tried to film with, the duo Riyuki, and I decided to have a little go with the little 2.4-inch dark sleeper, and it worked because it delivered this beautiful and very squirmy, wiggly rainbow who does not like to come in front of the camera for you guys. Beautiful fish. They are stocked, but they are absolutely beautiful. Lovely fighters, good strong bite. What more do you want? All right, time to go for this little fella. Thank you very much. Maybe see you next time. So after the fairly successful first spot, we fished about 200-250 meters of river. We had two fish, some followers. We decided to change the sector a little bit. So we have a faster rapid up top, which flows down into a very long mid-depth glide, basically, slower moving water. It's going to be perfect for the lures. We're going to start with the Riyuki spinner now on this spot. And we'll probably switch between the Riyuki spinners and Riyuki hard baits in several sizes. I'll walk you through the changes while I'm making them. Let's see what we can reel out here. Quite often, especially early in the morning like it is now, the trout and any other fish, even the barbel, they can be really close in on the edge in the shallower water. When you just barge in and start casting straight away, you might miss or spook some fish. So it's always worth, when you arrive on a spot like this, on any spot on a trout river basically, but in particular the deep sections, first carefully scan the outer shallower parts if you can spot any fish, and only then proceed with fishing it like you would normally do. There we go. On the Riyuki spearheads. The new spot paid off. Another lovely little rainbow trout. Very strong fish, followed 4 or 5 times. Even the cameraman could see him coming. And he finally hooked up. Again on the spearhead Riyuki, the 45S this time. The ultimate fishing color Veron, which is basically minnow. Beautiful little fish. Let's put him back and go on to the next one. Right, we just landed and released fish number 3. Again, basically, with the exception of the dark sleeper, obviously, both fish and most of the followers came to the duo spearhead Riyuki, Riyuki, however you want to pronounce it. This is the size 45 in the sinking, so the 45S, which stands for 45 millimeters, 4.5 centimeters. Quite specific, especially today. It seems there's a lot of minnows around. Veron in French, and this is the color Veron UV, so it's a UV active color as well, especially with the sunshine. It's one of the limited edition ultimate fishing colors specifically for the European market, and it's the perfect match for the bait today. We've seen hundreds in the edges, in the shallows, and apparently the trout really like them. We had some other followers, so we quickly continue back to fishing. Fish. Nice one. Real nice one. Shit. All right, it is time to talk tackle, one of my favorite parts of fishing, obviously. We've been trout fishing today with the Riyuki range from Duo, the Riyuki. Two lures in particular. That's the Spearhead Riyuki 45S. The 45 stands for 45 millimeters, so 4.5 centimeters that is. The S stands for sinking. Don't get scared, the water is quite low today, but the sinking just helps it stay stable in the current, and only in really slow water I would opt for suspending or floating. So almost always go sinking just for stability. The other one that we're going to use today is the spinner, the Riyuki Spearhead spinner from Duo. It's an inline spinner, as they say, similar to the Panther Martin ones we stock. An inline spinner means it's actually on the shaft itself. Amazingly stable, they cast really far, come in beautiful colors, and it's one of the better spinners for trout in general, inline spinners. One thing in particular that you will have noticed on my hooks, on my lures today, that I'm fishing single hooks. Single hooks are mandatory on this particular stretch. You have to fish barbless and you have to fish single hooks with a maximum of 2 per lure. I personally prefer assist hooks compared to most predatory fish. Trout have a fairly soft mouth, and because you have a little bit of extra give in the system, you lose a little bit less fish there. If you want to change or even if you have to change on stretches like this, if you would like to change your treble hooks to single hooks and you're doubtful about the size, it's really easy. If you put your treble hook on top of the single hook, you want all the outer extremities to be the same. So basically the gap of your single hook has to cover both gaps. Well, there's 3 gaps obviously, but when it's laying flat, the 2 gaps you're having of your treble hook, and then both weight-wise for the stability and for your hookup rate, that's the best way to go, depending on the size, but just look in the shop, compare both sizes. Same goes for the spinner. I'm fishing an inline single as well, and those 2 lures we're gonna use the most today. Another lure that's, especially in my hands, a very familiar product. It is the Dark Sleeper. Where would I be without one? It's an amazing perch, sea bass and whatever lure, but the trout specialists also in the south of Europe and whatever are really discovering how effective it can be on the trout. Again, on this stretch you have to crease down the barb, but they work really effective when the trout are not willing to look up, and especially the smaller size, so the 2.4 inch in the 1/4, which is 7 grams, or the 3/8, which is 10 grams, are the better suited options because trout obviously have a smaller mouth than most of her other predatory species. So basically that's all the lures we've took with us today. It's incredibly simple. We have 2 spools of leader, a small little bag, 1 bag of snaps. One of the leaders I didn't even open, so it's super simple. It's been very hot today with nice and little red hue over us with the cameraman as well. You don't need much. It's a super simple way of fishing, one I really enjoy. And with these products, I'm hoping you can get the same success we hopefully had today. So we decided to switch rivers in the same license. There's a small tributary of the main river. So it's a completely different river with a better population of wild brown trout, which it has proven. Probably the first 5 casts I had multiple followers on the small Riyuki. Decided to change back to the Riyuki spinner and unfortunately just lost quite a nice fish for the size of the river. Let's try to get another one. They are very active at the moment here. World's tiniest brown trout. Fish. We're back to the spot where we started, still on the same tributary, on the little river. The spot where I lost a nice one earlier in the video. We went back and he had a little friend waiting for us. A lovely little brown trout. Unfortunately had a little bit of an altercation with a cormorant. There's some marks on both sides. It's a beautiful fish. Let's put it back. It made my day. A nice mixture together with the rainbows. All right, we've just caught and released one of the beautiful trouts in this river. As someone who really likes trout fishing and fishes for trout quite a bit, I would like to pass one thing along to you guys. And that is that in particular, if you fish for other species, lure fish quite a bit, that trout are quite fragile when it comes to handling them. So try to avoid, especially on the summer holidays, try to avoid fishing in high heat. Go for barbless singles, even if it's not mandatory, and just try to pay a little bit more attention to the fish, and it will survive. You will catch it next year. The other fishermen after you will catch it, and it keeps everyone happy and it keeps the rivers healthy. Something to keep in mind in particular when you go try it for the first time. When it comes to the hardware for trout fishing, it is a little bit different from what you're used to probably if you're a freshwater lure fisherman, or in particular if you're a saltwater lure fisherman. You can obviously use, especially if you're just here on the holiday like many people are, if you're once or twice when the coast is blown out, or for whatever reason you want to try trout fishing, there's nothing wrong with taking any light spinner on it. If you like your trout fishing, like I do, you obviously want something a little bit more specialized. Luckily, the islands in Japan, they have a lot of trout, so the Japanese make some beautiful trout rods. 2 rods in particular, one I've been using today, which is the Tenryu Race Spectra, the 7-1 medium light. It's a bit longer. It's a little bit heavier. I actually have to admit that most of my trout fishing happens on the fly, and my spin fishing happens with a lot heavier rods, like my heavier perch rods, like a Fast Finesse 8.6, my sea bass rods. So to go with a really short 6 feet trout rod in my 6 feet 9 hands just doesn't fit me personally, but especially on the smaller river we'll be fishing today, I would definitely go for something really short from either the Race or any of the other, the Race Spectra or any of the other Race models. This one has a casting weight from 3 to 18 grams, a little bit stronger for the rainbows that are in this river, a little bit more length. It's my personal preference, but once again, I would go slightly shorter, to be very honest, for the average fisherman. It is a little bit more of a high-end rod, to say the least. If you'd like something specific for trout, but you're not fishing for trout that much, in particular is our own in-house brand, the Ultimate Fishing Amago. They look fairly similar. It's your typical Japanese-styled trout rod. They are very nice. They come in a multitude of lengths, all the way up to the biggest one for the biggest trout in Spain and wherever, to the smallest little teeny tiny creeks and brooks. A little bit more friendly on the wallet, but if you'd like something really bougie, something like a Tenryu Race, fits the bill perfectly. For the reel, something small, a 2000, a 2500. I'm using a 3000 because my hands are quite big and I really prefer the T grip. But that's up to you. Something light, something not too heavy, something in line with the type of fishing, the rods and the walking you have to do. When it comes to the lines, I'm using braided mainline with a fluorocarbon leader. On the main line, I'm using the Born Rush from X-Braid, the Born Rush Rubber Custom in 0.4 PE. 0.6 would work as well. And then there's a leader of 6 pound, which is about 0.20, 0.21 of a millimeter fluorocarbon. that's basically all you need. It's really simple, it's really light, it's really fun. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. I'm happy. Get some nice tackle, get a nice river, go fishing.